Welcome to a meaningful, magical, and majestic Christmas. Follow me. This marks the 15th home tour video that I have made for you guys here on YouTube. That's right, for 15 years I've been making how to decorate for Christmas, and so many of you have followed along, and I love you guys. You know that every year I always incorporate a nativity scene somewhere in my decorations because that's my history, that's how I grew up. My dad was a Baptist minister, so when I think back at what Christmas was to me, we always went to church on Christmas Eve. We actually opened our Christmas gifts on Christmas Eve. How many of you open gifts on Christmas Eve now? How many of you do it on Christmas morning? I'd be very curious to know if Christmas Eve is still a thing, but that's how we did it when I was a kid. And that's the nostalgia, that's the memories that I have. This year, rather than do a nod to the nativity scene, which I've done in the past, it was more about, you know what? I'm going to embrace the nativity scene. I'm going to embrace my childhood memories of Christmas. I hope that this is something that brings you joy and some great fond memories as well. My color scheme this year is lots of mercury glass, ribbons that incorporate this beautiful blue velvet, silvers and golds, but nothing is too shiny or glamorous. And nothing is flocked. Everything is toned down. It has a subtle, quiet elegance to it. I've always loved my fireplace, and a couple years ago I painted my fireplace black. But anyone see anything different this year? Yeah, it is quite different. This year I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. And it all came from this amazing nativity scene that had such a rustic, old world look to it. You know, Jesus wasn't born in a palace, he was born in a barn. And I think this is so perfect, and it's so much about the star, and then all of the starry lights around it, and the darkness, and the coziness, not just cozy, but almost the solitary event that Jesus was born. He came in quietness and humility. And I think this is absolutely tells that story. So the entire wall went that color, and it's a gorgeous deep blue-black. But you'll notice my garland this year, I've gotten to where I just love making garlands on fireplace mantles. I think they're just so amazing. This garland is so sumptuous. It is large and in charge. There is no glitter, however, there's a little bit of ice on it, so it does have a little bit of reflective quality. But you know what's so different? This year, I did not add any lights to my garland on my fireplace. That is shocking for me. I'm always telling people add extra lights, more than what comes on your pre-lit items, your trees and your garlands. This year, no lights. Instead, the warmth and the glow from the fireplace added to these 6 candles along the ledge of the mantle just add a subtle, quiet, genuine glow up the top of this canvas. I just think it's so beautiful. Now, everything you're going to see in this video is, of course, available on the Amber Marie & Company website, including this particular canvas. It's not shaped like this. It's long, it's tall and skinny, but it might be something that you could incorporate in your home too. You'll notice that I brought in some of the ribbon. The ribbon is a woven linen look. It's just a very, very subtle, soft, quiet, gentle glitter effect. The blue velvet, and then this yummy gold velvet ribbon, 4-inch, 1.5-inch, and 4-inch ribbons, along with the copper berries and the leaves, some pine cones, and then everything else that's in here is either my glitter garland or the glitter garland that's mixed with the Norfolk pine, very, very natural looking garland, and then lots of picks and sprays that are added to it. I hope you find this as magnificent as I do. I can't help but mention these incredible sconces. I bought these specifically for Christmas. Now that I see them up, I'm tempted to leave them up year-round. They are incredible. The bulbs that are in there are separate. They create kind of a flicker effect. But what's amazing about these sconces is that they have the cords come straight out from the bottom. You can't really see it, can you? Because it's black against the black blue wall, but they come down and you can plug them in. That way, this is not a hard-wired light fixture. It is a soft-wired light fixture that can easily change if you want to take them down after Christmas or put them up somewhere else. I mean, those are amazing, and look how big they are. What does this fireplace and this whole first impression do? It creates this incredible cozy place to sit here. On top of the coffee table, I use 2 lanterns that come as a set of 3. It's one of the, I think, most affordable things on the Amber Marie website, because you get an extra large one too that you'll see in my entry later. But I use the blue velvet ribbon again as a bow here, just to tie in with some bottle brush picks that have the pine cones already in them. Here's what you're gonna see, guys. It's not a highly floral designed look this year. It is simple, it is elegant, it's understated. It's a whisper of a vintage heirloom style quality of Christmas, and it brings you back to what Christmas is really all about, at least for my family. Notice too, down here, this ball is so regal looking, and I think of my theme this year as being majestic, but I also think that word majestic kind of goes with regal, because our belief system is that Jesus actually was the King of Kings, right? So it's got that king-like quality, but a subtle, quiet king. I added black velvet pillows to my chairs. A couple of these really cute, fun emblem, again, giving that regal look to my theme. I had 2 of those, and those were I got from Amber Marie. I'm not sure if they still have them, but you could check that out on the website. And then I am surrounded by some other walls. Let's take a look at that one, shall we? Let's go look. Do you see what I see? Doo, doo, doo. 350 of you who are my followers decided to take me up early this year and pre-order your angels, and by now you all have them. I can't wait to see. Please send me photos of how you use your angel and where you put her in your home. I love it. She's been with me for 18 years, and now she has a twin sister. So I was able to use 2 of them facing each other, and I chose, here's the important thing, guys, with your acrylic angels, listen close. If you have one of the best ways to use it is in front of a window, because natural light will come in and light her up in different ways as the sun is moving throughout the day. Natural light is your friend when it comes to acrylic figurines. But I love how the 2 of these face each other for the very important, this is the main character role, and that is the Holy Family, Mary and Joseph, with this beautiful baby Jesus. It doesn't look like a palace Jesus. It looks like a manger, a barn Jesus. Looks like it's carved out of wood. I love that. Then I used picks and sprays that I cut up and I fit all around. The bottle brush pick, all kinds of pine cones. Here are a few extra pomegranates that I just threw into this, just to kind of gently light it with a little bit of metallic, but not too much. Again, this whole Christmas theme is not screaming. This theme is whispering. I bought these stars this year. It comes in a really large size, and it comes in a medium size. I'll show you in a minute. But I loved these in this brass, and it's kind of an antiqued brass, again, my finish for the year, that hangs from the ceiling on a hook. It's got chain. It just hangs right in front of my window treatments. But do you see a big thing I did? Yes, I actually changed my window treatments for my theme this year. Up until now, this living room has always had white linen window treatment panels. Do you know what's so cool? This didn't used to be this way. Used to, if you're gonna change your window treatments, you're talking a couple $1,000 commitment. This is about a $200 commitment, if that. I bought black velvet panels with grommets. I bought them from Amazon, and it looks so good especially with my black and blue wall. The last thing I did was I took out my trees that are here normally, and I added 2 of my floor lamps. So I have a completely symmetrically laid out wall that is gorgeous and is definitely a supporting role to the rest of what is in this room. This ladder is a vintage ladder I've had. I bought it in an antique store, and I always keep blankets on it. So all I did, this is a cashmere throw in gold. I kept it because it went with my theme, and I just added a black one and then hung some wooden beads of a tassel on top of it. Okay, guys, I cannot help it, but when I show you what's on that wall over there, I think you're going to blow a gasket. At least I hope you do, because it was a big deal to do, and it is absolutely gorgeous. You want to see? There. Hey, wait, don't go there yet, because I forgot. I wanted to show this to you. Look, a cluster of pine cones. Do you guys remember I actually made my own hanging cluster of pine cones one year from the pine cones that were dropping from my pine tree? Yeah, well this time these are made of glass pine cones. I know I got these last year from Amber Marie, and I bet they still have some, I hope. But these are those bottle brush picks same ones that I used on the coffee table and over on the Holy Family that I just showed you. And then I top it with this beautiful 4-inch blue velvet ribbon bow. Why did I not buy a piece of art here this year? Because I usually always do. Because of the canvases that I found at market. Ready? The way this wall turned out, it has given me so much joy. I gotta tell you, when I was at market and I found this angel scroll, she was the first one I found of all the scrolls. And I actually ordered it in a custom size. So when you order yours, it will be slightly different size than this, but this is exactly what I needed for how I envisioned using this. I also want to let you know she's hung very designery, right? It's very custom hanging. I actually added grommets to the top of the canvases and then used thin velvet ribbon that I've used on my tree as well to tie around scepters that hang horizontally across. I just thought that was so regal and so amazing. And you know what? The manufacturer said they've never sold this angel where they have printed her in both a left facing and a right facing. But in my mind, my vision was these 2 angels are looking in towards the main character, Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus, on my piano. And then of course, I put a star. So look, the 2 angels are looking toward each other at the star. So if you're standing back looking straight, you get this perfectly symmetrical look. Notice that on the bottom, these are actually the bases of the etagères that sit here year round. I just took the tops off, left the cabinets, and it gave me a great place to use more of that bottle brush pick and spray, and then a couple of books and some beautiful brass black candle holders. My decor and my design this year is rich with detail, but it's so thoughtfully put together that it's refined and elegant, but quiet. I would sum this room up as simplicity speaking with elegance. I love the fact that I didn't do a big garland over the window this year, which I've done before. This year, it's all about the crescendo of lights to this light fixture that lights up the baby Jesus and the Holy Family. But as you come into the room, you'll see that I have these very tall, now they're up on tables because that's the height that I wanted, and she has her matching pair. So again, just like the angels on the wall facing as you come in, you don't see these angels at that time. It's not until you pass through that opening that you get to see these. I think it's just such a beautiful symmetric look. And then here's the thing, doing lights like this, these are the cluster lights. Each one of them has its own cord and they don't plug into each other. So it can be a menagerie to try and hide those cords. So what I did was I brought all the cords over to the corner and then dropped them down here in the corner. And then by using a garland that also has some of the Norfolk pine that's woven into it, along with the icy garland, weaving that together, then I could put another string of lights behind it. And a subtle thing that I did in here, These lights have, I think, like 8 different settings on them, and I used a throbbing twinkle setting behind the garlands, not up here. I thought it would be too much. Again, I want this to be subtle, glorious, and luxurious, but not glammy. Right here is where I have stacked my Wolford candles. How many of you have started collecting Wolford candles? They are such a great thing. I've had them honestly probably maybe 25 years, but behind it, I got one more canvas, and this one, I just think it is so beautiful. The colors and the golds and the warm colors that you see here in my lights and whatnot. The image itself is so vintage and distressed looking. So it gives you the impression of the holidays and the balls, and white poinsettias in here, but very, very, very quiet. When you turn around, you'll see that there are 2 built-ins in here. Now remember, this house is almost 100 years old, so it has kind of those fun nooks and crannies like this. So what I did was I took the shelves out, and I had the back wall painted the black blue to tie into my room across from there. Then I used my little cocktail tables. Last year I bought cocktail tables, but instead of using them as tables, I picked them up, set them in these openings as bases, pillars as it were, and then put another little statue of the Holy Family with a gold antiquing on it against that black blue wall is quite smashing. One of the things that you'll notice, I hope you notice, and I think everybody associates Christmas balls and ornaments with Christmas, right? Picks and sprays, not as much. It is not a commonly thought of thing to buy unless you're really into Christmas decorating, and you already know by now. But I think you're gonna see throughout my house these subtle little lit up areas of greenery just keep a continuation and a flow from room to room, theme to theme, always looking beautiful, always looking subtle and elegant without screaming. It's whispering and it's telling the story. We have set the stage for you for the most spectacular room in my home. It's the room that actually houses my Christmas tree. So far you haven't seen a Christmas tree yet, have you? Well, there is one, and this one is by far the most beautiful, glorious, rich, and majestic Christmas tree I've ever had. And right now is when I am going to reveal it to you. Follow me into the sunroom. I don't think I've ever loved a Christmas tree more than I love this one this year. Honestly, I could stay in here all night, sit in my chair and just watch the little elegant, shiny, shimmery balls move around. Look at all of the gorgeous splendor in this tree. Kind of get lost in the glow, the candlelight glow, the color, the richness of the velvet ribbons that I've draped throughout. You're gonna see the same blue ribbon that I used in other rooms to tie all of that together and bring in that black-blue theme that I have going on in the living room. I think that the blue did a lot to add architectural shape to this tree and give it some warmth, to cut all the gold, because it's a lot of gold. I think what stands out most to me about this tree is this is one of those trees that has the extending, I call it a pokey tree. I know it has a specific name, but I call it a pokey tree because these branches, they come out further on the tips, allowing you room and places to hang and drop ornaments from ribbons. Take a look at this ball. It's a mercury ball and it's in a gold antiqued finish. Love the shape of that. Another favorite of mine is the egg ball right here, a small mercury ball. This one is an onion shape coming down to a teardrop. As you look at my tree, your eye will go in deep into really essentially what is the trunk area. You never see the trunk because I have it laden so heavily and deeply with gorgeous balls and ornaments. Graduating my sizes of ornaments, my textures, my colors, All of this is included in the Rebecca's World Famous Recipes that we've just launched on my website, of specific direct recipes on how to do Christmas trees, garlands, tree skirts, tree toppers. I give you all of the ingredients, the quantities, and lay out exactly what you could or should be looking for when you want to create an absolutely breathtaking Christmas tree. Those kinds of quantities and that kind of information is super valuable. I've never made that available or public before. It's not something I've ever talked about, but it's something I've been asked for quite a few years. So that just went up on my website. You should check it out, RebeccaRobeson.com. There's probably a link in the description box below. On my tree, you're going to notice that nestled in between are what I call picks and sprays, and included in picks is florals. So look at this beautiful hydrangea. It looks like it's a dried hydrangea. I've used this soft color of berry, which I have on my staircase. You'll see a little bit later. And then I used black olive leaves. This pick right here is like an olive tree, and it's black olives, and it's just so earthy, rustic. It doesn't take itself too precious, and I think that's gorgeous. This ball here is gray. It looks like it was dug out of an attic, and before it went into the attic, it was dug out of the ground. That's how distressed it looks, but look how gorgeous it is. The light that comes through it, it brings out the vintage heirloom look that I was going for this year. There's a little cloche, and inside here, a gold Holy Family. There are also 3 different styles of crosses that are encrusted in pearls. They look like they're handmade, something out of an attic or a flea market in Paris. Can you tell I want to go to Paris? Yes, you can. Okay. Take a look at this ball. This thing, that's got to be an 8-inch ball. It's just ginormous. And I tuck those near the bottom and deep into the tree. You can see as you look through here, your eyes go through. I added spinners this year. So when you have a spinner, you guys, it's a motor. Well, if you pick a ball that's like this, and it doesn't have a lot of undulation or things going on with it, you don't really see it. You don't get the benefit. But when you pick something like this, remember I showed you guys in one of my videos how I create and curate an entire theme based on one item. So here's the hero ball in this room. It is the Holy Family, kind of that paper mache look again, but it's definitely something you'd find at a flea market in Paris as an old world heirloom quality ornament that set the tone and the mood for this entire theme. We've got angels who are announcing the birth of Christ. We have the star that is lighting the way and shining the path for the wise men. And we have the bells that are ringing, that are celebrating the big news that something has happened on this earth. So look, at the top of the tree, I have a brass star. But what is gently, majestically flying around the tree? Look at that angel. She is gilded majesty at its best. The ribbons from her robe are coming down into the tree. You can't tell which is which. Is she decorating the tree or is she blessing the tree? I don't know. But they are flying in the ceiling. Their legs come out. You see their feet coming out like they're flying. Let me tell you one thing. When I saw these at market, they were hanging from the ceiling and they were flying, and I was so impressed. When I got it, it came on a stand. So if you choose to buy these angels, just know when you get it and it's on a stand, don't be alarmed. Just cut the stand off. That's what I did, and hung it from the ceiling. I just think it's so gorgeous. And in the ceiling, I've created a woodland dream, an enchanted forest, welcoming winter like a quiet, magical evening. With over 200 metallic finishes that glow like evening light, the bells that hang at different heights throughout the room, covering not only the tree, but all the way down, across, and atop the dining table. I believe it's elegant restraint, lined with timeless detail. It's just like an exercise in texture. All these bells, they look like they belong in an old cathedral. Let's take a look back at what I did last year. I had a dreamy white Christmas, and this room was full of birch logs in the ceiling with picks and sprays that were all frosted or snowed upon. It was all flocked. This year I kept the birch branches that were initially put up, but we added to it all kinds of picks and sprays that are used throughout this room. Notice that all of these bells are hung from twine. A lot of people, maybe even if they thought to do this, they might be inclined to use gold cord or ribbon. No, I wanted it to be as authentic and old and rustic looking as possible. I love the finishes. Some are pewter, and they're different shapes. Recreating something like this bell ceiling, I think, would be yummy in anyone's home, especially if you're going with this look. But over here on this table, I found this really fun. I think this, again, looks like something you'd find in an attic or at a Paris flea market. This angel that actually is a candle holder, and she has a companion angel, which I used on my dining table, and I'll show you in a sec. I also came over here and thought, well, what else would you have in a regal entertainment type situation? So I thought this cut lead crystal vase or pitcher was a good choice. A great set of dominoes, ginormous dominoes. If you love to play dominoes, that is like the coolest gift. I think this is subtle and pretty, but here, notice this. A chalice, a metal, silver, and look, it is carved chalice. What does that make you think of? Geez, I could have bought these and hung them upside down. Welcome to my dining room. Down at this end of my sunroom, I have a round table. It's a 60-inch round, and right now I have it set for 5 people. I love the place setting. I actually did a DIY, and I think we have a short on it on some of our social media. Maybe if you don't follow us on Facebook, you're welcome to join us at Rebecca Robeson. But I antiqued the chargers. They start off as being very glitzy, glammy gold, and I antiqued them to kind of tone them down to look more like they would match with the bells. Do you see how shiny and gold it is in the middle? And then more antiqued on the edges. It toned it down by antiquing that, and then I used that same little gold cloche, and these actually light up. I'm going to tell you, if you end up wanting to buy these, they light up. I personally would not light them because they are colorful, and they actually change colors. So I just keep them off because I think they're beautiful in and of themselves, and it goes better with my theme. I thought these chalices, so I went on a Tulsa-wide search at antique shops. I needed 15, I found 14. And I wanted 3 per thing. And they're all, if you look close, every one of these goblets is different. But look at the finish. I'm sure it's meant to be, you know, get your silver polish out and fix it, but I didn't want to. I want it to look like this. I want it to be reflective of my theme and of these bells that are in the ceiling. This is the match or the sister to the other angel. I don't know if we're selling them as a set or separately. You'll have to check out the website. But it is a candle holder in one sense. And then here in these brass ones, I put these. Perfect for the tapered candles, which are so popular this year. These are 29 inches tall. That is a tall taper candle. And they are battery operated, so they are dripless. That right there is another reason to go with this kind of thing. And you know, for a long time, you couldn't get battery operated taper candles. So that's kind of a relatively new thing this year. And then tucked around it, I did some picks and sprays. And then I finished off this room. I hung 2 scepters. Did these look familiar to you? Do you remember seeing these in my living room? They are what the angels are hanging from when they are set horizontally. So just hanging them vertically, doesn't it just sort of look like Old Testament king palace kind of thing in another part of the world? I think so. I hope you guys like this. I hope that this is somewhat interesting to you to see the possibilities of what you can do with your Christmas decorations. Go with a completely different theme and come up with something special. And I hope that it's informative to you. You guys know that there's more to my house that I'm going to show you now. So let's head that way, shall we? Let's walk through my kitchen, where small vignettes bring joy in unexpected places. Even simple groupings like this one tell stories of warmth, memories from my childhood, and lots of care. Let's take this one for example. The train itself reminded me of childhood memories where there's a train going around the base of a Christmas tree. I've always loved that. You have to have a fair amount of space around the base of your tree, which doesn't really work in my family room, which I'm about to show you. But in here, just nestled among some of these picks and sprays of Norfolk pine and pieces that were cut from an original piece and placed under here with some pine cones and berries. Not only is it just a touch of Christmas over in this part of my functional kitchen, but it brings that nostalgia back and a little bit of that color that's needed. It also covers up my outlet and my cords to my coffee machine. So not only beautiful, but it's functional too. Let's take a look over here. I have another little vignette. This one I think is really cute. It's nestled atop a piece of wood. It's a cutting board, like a charcuterie board. But what I used are these really beautiful slender lanterns. Now these, of course, are from Amber Marie and Company. And inside of them, I have the taper candles that are battery operated. Amazing. Love those candles. They come in 2 sizes, but in order to get a 3rd size, because I like to accessorize in odd numbers, I actually added a piece of crystal to the base of this one, lifting it just a few inches so that I could get the 3 different heights in this corner. Then adding a little piece of the train. My train that I bought, the vintage one, came in 3 pieces, so I broke it up, put this one here, added some pine cones and a little sprig of bells. Here is another pick, which comes in a large, long piece that I cut into smaller pieces to be appropriate and scaled to the size that I needed. One of the key elements to effective decorating for Christmas in a kitchen is to keep things very plain, clean, and still functional, and yet bringing in the colors and the effect and the theme that is in the adjacent room, the family room. In this corner, I had a charger. I think this is from Amazon or something, maybe Michael's, I don't know. I've had it for years, but it brings in the plaid, which is a big part of this part of the house. The plaids, then this red Christmas plate. This is actually a collectible plate by Velroy and Bosch. Something that I've had for many years, but look how it just pulls just a tiny bit of Christmas in. Then these decanters or these canisters, they're fabulous because they give you a chance to bring in some colorful, for me it's sweets, chocolates, I know. And then this, look at how fun this is. Talk about a nostalgic Christmas theme. These are dried oranges with the rind. I mean, it's an acquired taste, okay? Let me put it that way. But it's very Christmassy to me. How many of you had dried fruit, like oranges or maybe cloves or cinnamon when you were growing up? Remember how we used to take the oranges and put the little cloves in them and make a pattern? So it gives off that little bit of feel of memories, the things that, you know, I loved about Christmas when I was younger. I have my cabinet doors off, and I just love this. I could have put it back on, but I think that the way these canisters are all labeled and done at different heights, it makes it interesting, and it's very like user-friendly. It tells a story of come on in here, sit down, and let's eat, right? That's super fun. Now, in here, I added just a little bit of the berries, but also, just so you know, this is my naughty cabinet. Okay, this is where all the candy goes, and trust me, I visit it often. Talk about a vignette. Hello, rocking horse. When I saw this horse, now mind you, imagine this without anything on it. It comes by itself. It looks like something out of an attic, bringing back nostalgia and heirloom quality pieces. That's what I was going for. Over the years, I have found myself choosing larger and larger pieces for this location. And you know what I found out is that there's still plenty of room to still use this countertop, even though I have this very large, impressive vignette here. But honestly, from my family room, when you look this direction, it is magical. This horse by itself is amazing. Then I draped it with a wreath, a pre-made wreath, but of course I added my own picks and sprays to it to make it way yummier. And then I got this Santa Claus. Hello, he's so cute. He has fur around his boots at the top. I think I have boots just like that. And look at his plaid coat. Do you see how this particular Santa, looking so old and nostalgic, I think it's just perfect to fit with my theme. And all of this at the base surrounded by one of my custom-made homemade bows right here in the two-tone ribbon. But look how cute this is. This little holly leaf, obviously it's artificial, but I love this one with the plaid. It just sort of ties this back in again. Then I have another grouping of 2 of the different sizes of the slim lanterns and the battery operated candles. And then I just finish it off with an ornament type thing that comes across. And then inside of it, it's a candle. Just that little addition of warm glow candlelight on this vignette, I think is just marvelous. Many of you have seen my unboxing video or my trends videos, and when you did, I showed you this horse. Do you know that that day, this horse sold out on the Amber Marie and Company website, like immediately. And so many people have been, oh, I wanted that horse. Here's what I would advise you to do. You know, they are continuing to get more and more product in, more quantities of things that sold out quickly. And it's very high likelihood that they will have these in again before the beginning of December. So you can still get your hands on it. But what you need to do is when you go to the website, if it says sold out on anything, click on it, and then you'll see a place where there's a little pink box. And in the pink box, it gives you the opportunity to click on it and then add your email address. I would highly recommend you do that for 2 reasons. One, they'll let you know when the new supply of new stock is in so you can buy it. And the second thing is that's how they know how many things to order. So in order to have an accurate quantity of needed items, they need that information from you. So I would highly recommend you do that. And I hope more of you are able to get this horse because I can just see this. It looks like something that would have been in my grandmother's home. All right, let me show you the ta-da vignette of this entire kitchen. And then I'll show you the garland and then the family room. Talk about the vignette for 2025 Christmas. I think this is, leave me a comment below and let me know, is this your favorite? Because I think this is amazing. I was actually really fortunate to have a kitchen that had like this blank space. I thought it was weird when I bought the house why the kitchen cabinets didn't come down across here. Then later I ended up buying a desk and putting it here, but I took it out this Christmas because I thought, I have those amazing black bears and I think they're adorable. Look at this, he's like in a evening jacket and a bow tie. Is that the cutest thing ever? Now, what the story that is told to me here is this is nostalgic of simpler times and a lot of tradition added into it. And I think that the tradition of a sleigh and a Santa and the red and the green and the plaid, doesn't that just make you feel like it's Christmas? Somebody left a comment and said that they thought that my Christmas theme for my kitchen and family room looked Scottish. Good to know. Maybe I should go to Scotland for Christmas. Anybody want to invite me? Because I'm available. I don't have anything to, no, I do. I have family coming for Christmas. But let's just go through this individually. Now, just so you know, if you choose to get the Papa Bear, he is standing up on a little crate. So he's a little shorter. Let me show you his actual height. That's Dada Bear. Okay? These guys are what I call investment pieces. And I make at least one investment piece each year. You know, I mean, I didn't when my kids were little and it was all I could do just to buy Christmas gifts and a few Christmas decorations. But once I was in a place, I was working and I could start collecting and adding to my investment of Christmas decorations, I would buy one investment piece a year. That's what I think something like the bears or the rocking horse is. But you can bring them out every year and it's super fun. Then the sleigh. Oh my gosh, a little sleigh. I've never had a sleigh before. So I filled it with packages wrapped in just brown paper wrapping, tied up with strings. But I used, these are a few of my favorite things. I had to just throw that in there. Needs to be said. But I used the different ribbons that are used throughout my kitchen and family room. Love these trees here. It comes in a set of 3, super cute. Very affordable set of 3 different trees, and I have broken them up and used them somewhere else. I use this fabulous Santa here that's sitting with his amazing like flyaway coat. Oh, that's Camelot. That's not Christmassy. Anyway, he's got his own Christmas tree that he's holding. Oh, I didn't even think about that I could have manipulated. I needed to fluff this tree. Don't listen to me. Do as I say, not as I do. So even though this is like a crescendo here, there is a ta-da moment from when you first walk into the family room and then you have a view of the kitchen. And that's what, this is the base, the foundation. But what is at the top that really pulls it all together? Let me show you. What do you think? I think this garland and the wreath in the center of the window just absolutely completed this room. It's this softly lit greenery that offers comfort and welcome to this room. This is a 6-foot garland. I believe I used 7 of the garlands just for the tops of my cabinets. It's called an iced garland, and it, of course, is on the Amber Marie website, but I stuffed it in all the right locations with picks and sprays. Bottlenose picks that have pine cones on the end, but I kept it mostly green, except when you get to the corners where there's a ta-da moment, a crescendo. I added the red plaid ribbon and then some of the berries. But here is the oval wreath. Now I, in the last couple of years, have fallen in love with an oval wreath. You know how wreaths are always round. This one is oval. It is battery operated in the lights, where my garlands are actually plug-in lights. But this is battery operated lights in the other part of my house. In my sunroom, remember hear the bells ringing, tolling, bringing in the great news of the Messiah. Jesus is born. And so I brought that kind of feel and that theme into this room, also adding bells here and there, and just this subtle nod to the bells. But notice the bells are on like a twine, a cord, not on something gold or anything like that. It's very rustic and cool. And the finish of the bells is an antiqued brass, which I think looks old and found. Then adding more berries, topping it with a red bow, and this is the bow and the ribbon that I used on my tree. It's different than the plaid here. It's a red plaid on one side and a red velvet on the other. Awesome, awesome ribbon. I hope we still have some of that left on our website so you can get some. And then we just added some more of the jingle bells, the antique brass jingle bells. Do you love this wreath? I mean, isn't this just like a crescendo, like symmetry moment? I love symmetry. In a recent video where I lay out for you how I curated the entire theme for this room based on one item that inspired me, you can get a lot of the details, but I'll walk you through so you can see for the first time how those particular ribbons and garlands and picks and sprays, the balls and ornaments, how they were used to create this absolutely beautiful family room. I think this might be a good time for me to mention that it appears that I've gone in 2 very opposite directions with my theme this year. The first part of my house that I showed you definitely celebrates the birth of Christ, the nativity, everything that I grew up to understand as a young girl. But at the same time, even though my parents were very conservative, I also got the Santa Claus aspect of Christmas. And to me, it's not as important as the nativity, but it's very much a part of my past and where I come from. And I personally don't see how they do not mix together. I think they mix together beautifully. So this room is an embodiment of the other side of my childhood, and I hope that it has a connective string that pulls you in as well. I have 2 9-foot trees in this room. They are both slim trees, and in order to get them to fit, I had to do some fancy footwork. I made a joke that I put my trees on Ozempic. That got a lot of comments from people. But I put them on a diet, meaning I needed to turn the branches under and tie them back in order to get them to fit in a tight space. But it actually worked really well. Take a look at the berries, the velvets in the ribbons, the use of the black pine cones, and how I took my balls deeper into the tree near the tree trunk. Of course, I started with my hero ball, which I showed you in that video, how I curated this room. But I want you to make the connection between that hero ball and the hero ball that I used on the other side of my house, which has the Holy Family on it. Made by the same company, the same finish, the same look, and in my opinion, gave me the permission to marry the 2 themes together. You'll see the use of picks and sprays and branches, and how the vintage glass balls mixed with that more paper mache ball. Keep in mind that black leather was a part of my theme and my scheme this year, and I do see how it adds so much authenticity to the look. It pulls it away from that highly glittered, glamorous look that we think of for Christmas a lot. It gives it a more organic and natural and subtle look to the room. In an effort to bring in a little bit more of the earthy look, you'll notice that my little mama deer here and her doe are so adorable together, and I put them on a live edge piece of wood that I've had for years, tucked in some of the cut up picks and sprays, made a 3-loop bow out of the plaid ribbon, and brought it back down around the back, and then it sits next to this amazing, honestly, I absolutely love this lantern. It came later than most of the things I got this year, so I did a second unboxing video. You may have seen it there. One thing that I love about your first impression when you walk in this room is symmetry. I mean, this room is so perfect for a symmetrical first impression. Why? Because I have the windows on either side, the same amount of drywall on either side of that, a beautiful focal point center area where I have my television, and I just put on a YouTube video that plays a Fireplace for like, I don't know, 6 hours. Honestly, it actually feels warm. I don't know how YouTube does that, but I feel warmth coming off of this thing. Also on my credenza, you'll see that I have a grouping of 3 glass trees here and 3 here in the plaid pattern. So you see the use of leather, velvet, plaid, berries, pine cones, glass ornaments, almost a paper mache look. All of these things together with this very neutral shade here. This is now balanced and tied in, as well as the swag that I have above my television. Very simple swag, something that you can buy on the Amber Marie website, and just add your berries, your picks, your sprays, and you'll see here there's a Santa figurine right there with his skis, because this is supposed to look sort of like we're at the lake home this Christmas. But I love the use of this particular ribbon. Do you see the color, how that ties in down here? So you get this symmetrical look leading to the center and down right here to the deer, over here to this deer head, and over this direction to this wonderful vintage scroll art piece that looks like Old Man Winter at his finest. This particular Santa, come on guys, is he just so happy? I don't think any child would ever look at that Santa and cry, because that is not a scary Santa. That is just nothing but, that could be Grandpa for all we know. And then I hung him with the black leather, creating a V shape to the top, added at the center one of my ornaments of a deer head, and then dropped a cluster of pine cones. Meet, I don't know, nameless wall mount deer head. I love it. I especially love his finish. He looks like he's carved of wood, but I love the finish because it goes so well with my deer in the center. And I love his majestic antlers that go up. Doesn't it just like fill in this space between these two symmetrical windows? Notice that the windows have the same kind of a wreath, the oval wreath that I have over the sink in the kitchen. And I've hung the bells in the center. These are luxuriously clustered with all kinds of red berries and hanging these wreaths on the ribbon, which I think adds so much. I found these great little nutcrackers that I bought, and I put them on top of one of the candle stands that I bought in the last 2 years from Amber Marie, and I put a round mirror on top with a brass edge, giving me a little bit more width and length in order to display something on top. Plus I get the reflection of the mirror. Vignettes like this and the one that's sitting next to the sofa just allow the guest, the homeowner, the person in this room to linger a little longer and feel like they're at a place called home. Clearly my color scheme this year was the plaid, the red, and the green. So on my sofas, I bought myself some green pillows, and then I added these plaid pillows that just say joy, which to me is really what this room brings to me. You guys have been watching for quite some time now, and I hope that you are capturing the spirit, the love, the joy, the charm, the vintage and heirloom qualities of what I chose to do this year. But you know, there's a room I haven't shown you. It's what I typically show you in the very beginning of a video, and that's my entryway. Instead, this will be our fond farewell for this year's Christmas video. Follow me on into the entryway, or in this case, the exitway. You know, your entryway makes your first impression and your last impression in your home. So my question to you is, do you decorate your entryway at Christmas time? Do you put any effort into it? I would highly recommend it, and there's so many ways you can do it with garlands and wreaths and all kinds of things. Well, every year I do something different. If you've seen any in the past, you've seen that some years I go whole hog and I really put my back into it, and other years I tone it down a little bit. It just depends on the theme. Well, this year, because my overall feel is quiet elegance, so what I did on my staircase this year, and this, by the way, took 7 garlands of the 6-foot garlands. I mixed 2 garlands together. My normal icy garland, which was like my main garland for the year, and then I did a Norfolk pine that I literally wound into the main one, and then added so many different types of picks and sprays. And then I brought it down around and swooped it onto the floor for that dramatic first impression wow when you see it. And yet it's very subtle. There are 2 strings of lights that run through it to light it up, but it is not glittery, it is not flashy. It's just, to me it's done in good taste, if I do say so myself. I know, rude, right? I brought in my blue ribbon. This is the 4-inch velvet ribbon. The little gold pomegranates that are stuck in here, copper picks and leaves, the dark blue berries in this area. And then what I did was I picked 2 moments that I was going to use on this staircase. One here at the newel post that is a grouping of bells, and do you remember seeing these in over my dining room table and in the sunroom? I have that whole forest of bells and metallics. So I bring that in here, and then I did another grouping here, also using other shades of blueberries, the same picks, and then in 3 places, and because I have mirror, you know, you can choose, are you gonna put a bow on this side, or do you put it on the other side? And I felt like the reflection of the bow on the other side, I actually ended up with 2 bows out of 1. Now that is smart investment decorating. So I put those up, and then the rest of the garland is literally just evergreens. Usually I have a lot of stuff in there. This year, this garland is evergreens, some ribbons that are woven through. It is subtle, it is elegant, it is understated. It imbues that vintage heirloom quality that I have created in my home throughout. The most important and the biggest thing that I did in my entry this year, I bought myself 2 new spectacular, amazing lights that are in the ceiling now. This is going on my 5th year here in Tulsa. And up until now, I've had the crystal, I call them boob lights, I'm sorry. Although this is a 100-year-old home, so I'm sure that's why it was chosen. But for me, I go for something a little bit more dramatic, classy, but understated. So this very large pendant light here, as well as over here in a slightly smaller size, just set this whole entryway off. And one of the reasons why I kept all of this very simple. This light fixture here is the sconce. You saw this in the living room on either side of the fireplace and the nativity scene. And as I explained to you there, it does come with a cord that goes down and just plugs in, so it doesn't have to be hardwired. This particular sconce is very oversized. You can tell by the size of me how big this is. It's a good size sconce, but I just loved this when I saw it at market, and I'm so glad I was able to get it. Of course, it is something you can get from Amber Marie, but the finish on it is absolutely beautiful. I absolutely loved this angel. It's actually considered a garden angel, so it is meant to be indoor-outdoor. You could put this outside, and I don't think it would get ruined, obviously, if it's an outdoor garden angel. But isn't she beautiful? She's just so quiet and elegant and subtle, and her gown, her robe, her wings, I don't know, there's just something about her that I just thought, she would look so good with my theme this year. And then you can see back in the corner, I put 2 baby Jesuses as figurines that go on the wall, and they're 3-dimensional. Again, looking so great with my new light fixture. And then I finished off a bench that I also got last year from Amber Marie, and I put it on the side here, used one of my huge balls. This is, you guys, this is the size of the ball that was on the tree. It's near the bottom of the tree, but you can see the size of it. It is ginormous. It is a mercury glass with an amber glow color to it. Set it on literally a 100-year-old book next to the largest. Remember the lanterns that are on my coffee table in the living room? It's a set of 3. Very affordable set too. You should check that out if they still have any left. But this one here, I'll turn it around and you can see how beautiful it is with its ribbons and the dark blue berries. I love this ribbon. This is like almost a rustic vintage look. It's like a black blue that matches the color in my living room with the gold. A little bit of the pomegranate leaves as a pick and a spray, and then of course some of the jingle bells. All of that put in and sitting on this little bench here. And then one last thing, I have this annoying security camera board, right? So I like to cover it up every year, and this year I used my Holy Family tray that matched my hero balls, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Something you can hang or something you could sit. My finishing touch was the use of a collection of different candles in glass that are of course battery operated that line the stair steps of my staircase, creating a gentle glow of candlelight. When I started talking to you about this room, I have mixed emotions because what this means is we are now at the last couple minutes of 2025 Christmas home tour video. There are still more Christmas decorating videos coming out after this one on my channel. I have some very valuable learning, demonstrating, and teaching tips in these upcoming videos that are coming. You're not going to want to miss them. But the sad part is on all of this is, you know, this is like the culmination of a year's work. There's been a lot that's gone into this, and it's been so much fun. And I hope that you've loved it as much as I have. I can tell you I have thought more about this theme throughout the year than any Christmas decorating I've ever done in any of the past years. So I hope it means a lot to you. And I hope there's deeper, meaningful things that come out of this for you than your typical Christmas decorating video. I thank you so much for joining me. For those of you who are subscribers, thank you. Thank you for years and years of loyal following and just being a part of my tribe. And for those of you who are new, many of you come as a result of looking for how to decorate for Christmas. I want to invite you to come back, to consider subscribing to this channel. Of course, leave a thumbs up, which all my subscribers know to do, but I'd like to hear from you too. Did you enjoy this video? Do you think that there are things that you could take away and learn from and somehow incorporate into your own home? Remember, we have the Rebecca's Famous Recipes on my website. Be sure to check that out. There's a link in the description box below. We have How to Decorate for Christmas videos, a bundle on the design sessions on my website. And remember, everything you see, nearly everything you see in my home is shoppable at the Amber Marie & Company website. And don't be discouraged if something says it's sold out, because they are likely going to get more stock in soon. So keep checking that website. I hope you guys know how much I appreciate you and I love you. And I wish you a very, very, very Merry Christmas. And I will see you in the next few videos. And then of course, in 2026. Can you believe it? I know, right? All right, you guys, I love you.